Hey guys, I'm Brad Hull and this is Justin Harris, and we're going to talk a little bit today about dairy and most nutritionists or a lot of people that I've heard of, they kind of look down on dairy or think that there's going to be some effect in the body where it'll thicken your skin or you won't look as lean, or there's just a lot of misinformation out there about it. And I realize that a lot of people have dairy intolerances or may have a lactose intolerance or things like that. But for those of us who don't, can you have dairy in your diet? And Justin, go ahead, tell us what you
Well, I think
think.
that's just a misconception from years ago in the 50s, 60s, or whatever, where people would drink whole milk as their dairy and whole cream stuff, cottage cheese and things like that. And so whole milk has 9 grams of fat per cup. Was it something like 13 grams of sugar, and it's lactose,
Lactose.
which is a mix of galactose and glucose, and galactose isn't a very good sugar. There's protein in it also, but it's really calorie dense and it's a mix of sugar and fat. And so, certainly, when people cut that out, you're cutting huge chunks of calories out of your diet, and they're probably replacing it with something like fish or lean. Back then, people ate tuna like crazy, and so you're replacing a mix of fat, protein, and sugar with a probably a much lower calorie, less calorie dense food source, and they probably didn't even replace it. They probably just stopped, switched from milk to water, and clearly leaned out and thought it, thinned their skin. When in reality, they just lost fat. There's no such, not there is thick skin as far, but it's fat. I mean, milk's not gonna thicken your skin. It's gonna make you hold fat maybe, but I mean. I've always said I'm not a fan of milk as far as I just don't think lactose is a great carb source, and think fat's really fat's almost twice as calorie dense as protein and carbohydrates. So if you're going to eat something with fat, I'd rather it came from a healthy fat source as opposed to like a regular milk or even a 2% milk. But in the off season, I drink milk all the time, and I don't see why you can't have dairy in a contest. I have a client right now who's stepping on stage tomorrow with Strida Glutes, and he was having cottage cheese all the way up until the final week, pretty much. So.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And now with the advent of like newer food technology or whatever, they have the lower carb milk or whatever
Mm-hmm.
else. Like I think I mentioned in a previous video, I use a brand called Fairlife milk, and they have their skim milk. So it's got no fat and it's got like double the amount of protein, half the amount of carbs. So like 13 grams of protein
Mm-hmm.
and 6 grams of carbs.
Yeah, and
And
the
so
nice thing too, the extra protein really kind of thickens it up, so it almost tastes more like a two
right,
percent milk rather than a skim
yeah,
milk.
it doesn't taste like skim milk. So things like that can be, it's a great way if you're like me, and I have a hard time getting in as much protein as I need. So instead of having to eat, 6 or 8 ounces of chicken every single meal, well, I can have a cup or two of the milk with it, and then and cut that cut that amount down a little bit, and use some Cocoa Krispies as my carb source. So don't tell anyone.